And we're already back with the second game between Fredi and TyrantQ in the Coronation Cup 2 series in the group stage. We are still in. And Fredi is actually leading 1-0. So let's see if he can win the series outright here. I think it is a best of 3. So if he wins this game, he will win the series, or if TyrantQ will be able to make a comeback. However, in the first game, it didn't really look convincing for him. Now in this game we do not have a nomad start, but we have a standard start. The map looks like Arabia to me, but nowadays who knows anymore, because Arabia has been changed so much, which I absolutely hate. I mean, it's the classic go-to map. Maybe just leave it alone and introduce new maps instead of just changing it with every patch, introducing new bugs and unintended behavior. But enough of a rant. So we have a standard start, we have a TC already. In terms of civilizations, TyrantQ has the Turks, so I think that's a very bad civilization for him, because it's rather slow. You really need to go to Castle Age to get any kind of bonus out of them, in the form of the free upgrade to Light Cav maybe, or I don't know. So it's really difficult. Whereas Fredi with the Italians, although he will not be able to utilize their fishing ship bonus, although maybe I spoke too soon, we have some fish here, so maybe we'll see some crazy fish boom. However, he will make use of their bonus of cheaper advancing to the next age, and I think that alone will be enough to give him a solid edge. In addition to just his mechanical skills, he is just able to execute the build orders and probably go for knights, and then that should be his plan, or probably will be his plan. As for TyrantQ, he knows he's now probably the underdog, judging by the performance from the first game, so he really needs to think about what he wants to do in this game. Now, quick note, we have elephants here, and for those of you who don't know, elephants, even though they behave the same as boars, they actually have 50 more food on them, so you have more food on this map, 100 food more on this map, but the elephants also attack a little bit faster, so they're a little bit more dangerous, but also give you a little bit more food. Now TyrantQ, not timing this perfectly, has a lot of idols underneath his TC. I hope his villager is fine here. Ooh, Tyrant, Garrison. Oh yes, he does it. Very nicely done. We have some scout fights, but this does not look good for TyrantQ, because he is attacking uphill and Fredi is attacking downhill, and the scout from TyrantQ is already dead, and that's pretty bad, honestly, because losing the scout so early means that you get no idea, no information about what your opponent is doing, and I hope he has scouted all of his resources, so he does know about the second elephant, so that's good, but he did not find his goats over here, so already he is missing 200 food, and if Fredi is lucky, he will be able to pick those up. And also the scout can be really annoying, just attacking from time to time. Oh, there's a weak villager. If Fredi clicks and pays attention, he will be able to pick off this villager even, but probably he won't do that. Now he might even run into the TC, but TyrantQ does not react, maybe for the better, because usually you just miss all your shots with your town center, and you just get a lot of idle time. Now in terms of population, Fredi is ahead by 2, so that's already some idle time of the town center there for TyrantQ, just the rustiness. Again, all of his villagers here are idle, while he brings in the next elephant. Although with the elephants maybe a little bit more tricky to time, because it's more food, so it takes a little bit longer. But yeah, still, he just misses the mark here. And one thing with this weak villager, you never want to send the weak villagers out to the woodlines, because then they're very vulnerable to scouts. Instead, you want to use them to build farms around your town center, because then they're more protected. But in any case, in order to notice this, Fredi needs to really click on all the individual villagers, so that's quite a lot of micro time and micro that he needs to do. And it looks like, oh no, this is so bad. It looks like Fredi has found these 2 goats, but there are also 2 more goats that TyrantQ didn't collect over here. So he only got 4 goats and 2 elephants. So this is basically just like a lame, with those 2 additional goats now being at the disposal of Fredi, who has some idols over here, now has the barracks forward, so I think we might be seeing some kind of drush, and still has the scout. Although now Fredi is on the way to the next age, whereas TyrantQ he's not even close, but he's now pulling ahead in villagers. Fredi going up with 20 villagers. Okay, but that's to be expected, because during the time that you research the next age, of course, you cannot create more villagers. And looks like Fredi is kind of undecided as to what he wants to do. Now it looks more like maybe he just wants to go for castle age instead. Now drops this mining camp and 4 gold miners. Does all not seem to be super optimized in terms of build order, but to be fair, it's maybe not necessary. He's probably also a little bit rusty. Has an idol over here, now goes for archers. Okay, that's interesting. I mean, yeah, not bad against Turks who lack elite skirmisher. So basically they have no options other than gold units against archers. Now we see a lot of walls coming down from TyrantQ. Of course, all of this is idle time, and we've seen in the last game how easy it is to just break through those walls. Now the scout is weak, but if TyrantQ doesn't react, the scout will just kill the villager. And I think I'm not sure why does TyrantQ refuse to attack the scout. That's something I don't get. Just attack the scout, then at least he needs to go back. And now use the weak villager to just create another farm. Another thing you should do at some point is just chop the stragglers. If you have some idols around the TC, just chop the straggler trees, and then you have more space to farm as well. Now the walls are coming down, and although, yeah, it's quite a big box around the town, and as I said, those palisades, they're not super strong, and also TyrantQ still not up into the next age, so the palisades are even weaker. So you can see this here, Dark Age palisades only 150 hit points, whereas in Feudal Age I think they gain another 100 hit points. So also in terms of score lead, Fredi massively in the score lead, and I expect him to maybe go to the next. No, he does not go to the next age. Instead, now he is going for archers, producing 4 archers out of 1 archery range. So again, not very optimized. So usually, if you want to go for archers, you would go for a 2nd archery range and then produce out of 2 archery ranges, because this just takes too long. I mean, look at this. At least he already has fletching. But it would be much better to not have fletching yet, produce out of 2 archery ranges, and now research fletching while you're moving forward. Okay, to be fair, he already has 3 archers forward here, but this could even be more at this point. Archers not a bad option with the Italians. I think they get pretty decent upgrades and even a unique tech to give them more armor. The only thing is that I think that Fredi is maybe a little bit too passive here with these archers. He's just hitting walls instead of trying to hit the berries, for instance, which he definitely sees. He sees the berries, so he could, and sees the villagers, so I'm not sure why he's not attacking these villagers in the front or these villagers at the berries. So maybe he's just giving his opponent a little bit more time. Now that TyrantQ is in the next age, we see the palisades are a lot stronger. They have 100 hit points more, so it doesn't. The palisades don't go down immediately, but still, it's a lot of pressure put down here by Fredi. Now Fredi also gathering the food, but TyrantQ also gathering the food. but now he's going for 7 scouts, bloodlines, then also a wheelbarrow and town watch at the same time. And that's not a good idea to queue up both upgrades at the same time, because that's 75 food that's just blocked and not used for anything. And at the same time, you don't want to already get wheelbarrow with only a couple of farmers. So I think it's not yet the time to get wheelbarrow. And here, maybe instead of a palisade, just get a stone wall. And oh yeah, oh, don't lose this villager! What are you doing, TyrantQ? Oh, losing another villager. Not very good. Losing another villager over. Oh god, what is he doing? He's just sending out the villagers to die, and it's a 6 villager lead, 7 villager lead, probably soon 8 villager lead. Yes, this one will go down. Some nice little micro here from Fredi, and it doesn't really look good. And now those walls just look silly because he did not complete them. And if you don't complete your walls, then it's silly. Now we have double stable scouts. This is ridiculous. But he needs more. I think that's not enough to fight all of these archers, especially if microed properly. At least he does have bloodline, so that's one thing that's going for him. Now this 3rd scout is there, and he is able to repel the attack for now, but now enemy scouts have arrived, and I think TyrantQ needs to pull back those scouts. Unless he wants to lose them all. Now he will just lose those scouts basically for free. Yes, not even able to kill this scout of Fredi. And what could have been a strong army of like 7 scouts is now reduced to 2 scouts, and 3 are in the queue. Oh no, 5 actually are. Oh no, it's okay. It's actually quite a lot, but he needs to attack with them. And Fredi not reacting, so this is actually very good for TyrantQ. Very, very good, and it looks like we have a game, because Fredi just loses his archers over here, and if TyrantQ plays this correctly, he can just clean up all the army of Fredi, and then also go for a nice counter-attack. And Fredi needs to bail, he needs to go back. But one thing, oh, and look at this panic production of spearmen. What is this? Fredi is getting afraid. And there you see that Fredi still, even though he has improved a lot and he should feel confident about his performance, he still has kind of a shaky mindset in that now he's overproducing spearmen. Instead, he should focus on going to Castle Age, because he is the Italians, he needs much less resources. To be precise, 15% less resources, so he could just buy a little bit of food and sell a little bit of wood, and he could be on the way pretty quickly to the next age. Now, we see one drawback of TyrantQ losing the scout in the beginning of the game. He has no idea where his opponent is, and that is super, super bad. One thing to mention here is that one of the bonuses that has been introduced to the Turks, which I completely forgot because it's quite recent, is that they already get 1 pierce armor in Fuel Age, so they are actually quite strong in terms of scout rushing. And now Tyrant could actually do a lot of damage here, but he is running into the spearman and into the town center, will kill 1 villager. But I think he should just retreat. Now he's going into the spearman again. Oh, what a disaster. Just throwing away all of those scouts. Now even getting forging. He might be able to pick another villager, which probably makes him feel good. And also this villager shows him the way out. So there is a hole here apparently. But I think TyrantQ just needs to go back and also needs to think about Castle Age. Look at those scouts. What year are we in? Is this 2001? Is this Age of Kings, or what is this? And now, I mean, look at this. The extra pierce armor actually being pretty good. Negating the fletching, and if he would actually get the armor upgrade, those scouts would be super strong against the archers, cleaning up all the archers again. What is this? The spearmen not doing anything, and again we have 4 scouts on the field, and now make that 3, make that 2, probably make that 1. Not quite, but still. And Fredi is on the back foot, but TyrantQ is just all in scouts, and now we have the transition of Fredi finally to the Castle Age. He will hit the Castle Age soon, and then that will be disastrous for TyrantQ. I think the hole is still there, so TyrantQ could just still go in there, but instead he's just sacrificing the scouts to the spearman. And yeah, if he had not so much overcommitted on scouts, TyrantQ could already be on the way to Castle Age as well. But as it looks, yeah, he really is still quite far away. He could still sell a little bit of wood and even the stone if necessary, just to click up, because Fredinowicz has reached the Castle Age. And let's see what he is producing. Nothing, of course, he's producing nothing. He's just focusing on the upgrades, focusing on the economy, just getting the town centers, which is the safe approach probably in this situation, because your opponent is not up yet. So just get 2 more town centers up, boom a little bit, and then also pump out the knights that he's clearly preparing. And finally he has 3 knights in the queue. Again, only 1 military building, so that's maybe one thing that he could improve upon. Getting a second stable would have been a good option here. I would even say it would be better to just go for 1 additional town center, maybe this one in the front, and instead spend the wood on a second stable, because you don't know what your opponent is going for. If he's going for Castle Ages himself and has double stable knights producing, he will be able to catch up rather quickly. We as the viewers, of course, we know that's not really the case. TyrantQ is not even, has not clicked up yet. He is really far behind now because he's overinvested a little bit into those scouts. But still, that's a possibility if you're in the shoes of Fredinowicz. Also, your base is not walled, even though this front is kind of walled, but there's some holes in there. And also TyrantQ could just run around and probably hit the wood line. There's probably a hole, or soon to be hole here. I think there's a hole here as well. So quite lucky. I think a more competent player would punish Fredinowicz in this situation by just pumping out more knights and just overpowering him. Because also now Fredinowicz is booming, but he's not producing military. He now has only 3 knights, and if the other player would just go all in, would just go 1 TC all in, TyrantQ could easily push this even. Now, what is TyrantQ going for? He's going for archers as Turks. Maybe he's going for cav archers. So that might make sense, because Turks get very nice unique technology for cav archers, where they get plus 20 hit points. So elite or heavy cavalry archers have 100 hit points in the end. One thing to note here is that the berry bushes, or fruit bushes here, are still there for TyrantQ. So even if you pushed off these resources in the beginning of the game, you should just go back to them at some point. And now TyrantQ must realize, oh shit, I am Turks, I don't have elite skirmisher, which makes this really, really terrible. I mean, he is kind of anticipating the pikeman upgrade and pikeman production here from Fredinowicz, but still, skirmishes, unupgraded skirmishes, are really, really bad, even against the pikeman. So I would prefer to see something else. One thing you could go for as the Turks, which is very strong, especially in such a situation, is okay, it's not really possible because this map is kind of bad, is to go for stone and then go for janissaries. And now here is where those skirmishes really look stupid. The knights are there, and knights just kill skirmishes. And also light cav, not good enough against the knights. So I think the knights will just clean this entire army up if needed. Yeah, probably these javelins only do 1 damage a piece, but I think as maybe the numbers are there, maybe Fredinowicz is it's a wise choice to just go back. And now I think TyrantQ needs to plug the hole. And yeah, so as I was saying, going for a castle and then just pumping out janissaries. Janissaries in Castle Age super strong. They're also strong against the pikemen, and if you have enough numbers, you can easily defeat knights. So maybe something like monks and janissaries could have been good here, or just the double stable knights. I mean, still Fredinowicz 3 knights here. now producing more, and now TyrantQ goes for the worst move, which is Spearman, because if you look at the tech tree, you can see that you also don't get the Pikeman upgrade. So you don't get Elite Skirmisher, you don't get Pikeman, you don't get Arbalest, and also you don't get Onager. So basically the Turks have no options in a trash war or in many situations, so they're super situational. Now on the other hand, they get the free upgrade to the Light Cav and Hussar, so that's very nice, but Fredinovic reacts in time here with the Town Center, and so those Light Cav are not able to do much. Even though they're quite tanky, they have the extra armor, so they're already at the plus 4 armor, and so the Town Centers only do 2 damage per arrow, and he could even reduce that further with the final armor upgrade, which is probably not worth it in this situation. He should just focus on units instead, and that's what Fredinovic has done here. Now finally has some knights here, and he will break through the front in no time. Fredinovic needs to drop some houses here immediately, but it won't be in time. You see how weak palisades really are. I mean, it's a good thing in Castle Age that they cannot hold up too long, but slower players, they just get overwhelmed, and now you only have spearmen against knights, and that's just too bad. And even if you have the upgrades, it doesn't help. And also he got the upgrade supplies, but that does not apply to spearmen, so that reduces the food cost of the swordsman line, but not the spearman line. Some nice quick wars here. So TyrantQ showing that he has the speed, he has the skill, but he just doesn't have the practice and the strategy. And this is the most one-sided fight you will ever see. Skirmishers versus knights. So the skirmishers do 1 hit or 1 damage per attack, and even the spearmen, they do like 10 damage or something. So it's not really that great. And what TyrantQ should have been doing is going for camels instead, because camels counter knights. But at this point, I'm just waiting for this to be over. I think that TyrantQ wants to have one last glorious raid, but he is not even allowed to get that with all these town centers. Maybe some villages here on the fringe or in the wood line, which surely has been over chopped at this point. He is getting some villager picks, but on the other side, complete disaster here, a tyrant base, so I think he will call it soon. 85 villagers to 27. Yeah, there is really no competition. I think once he loses all of this army, I think TyrantQ will just call it GG. And yes, there it is. And Fredinovic finishes off TyrantQ in convincing fashion. He has improved so much over the last year, and is now able to just take the easy win and set himself up to move out of the group stage, it seems. So let's look at the statistics, but I think there's not much to see. We just see a constant downhill. Although I have to say, here in Feudal Age, with the scouts killing all the army of Fredinovic was quite good, but then the transition just was not there. So that's where TyrantQ then fell behind and then could never recover. So this is the series TyrantQ vs Fredinovic in the Coronation Cup 2. I hope you enjoyed the games, and see you soon.